Let's hear your viewpoint. How do you feel about corporal punishment?
Oh, corporal punishment. I don't really think it's good because, like she said, she might prefer it, but it might not be okay for me. And again, it's a law that corporal punishment should be stopped. But some guys still go on, or some parents or teachers in school, they still go on to exhibit this punishment. Maybe they feel it's a way of taking or getting revenge on their past life. Maybe when they were young, that their parents used to
used to spank them.
Yeah, so
they think
it's payback time.
Yeah. So that's just it.
Okay. Now, but if you were to look at it, how would you like an adult to discipline you? If you were to look at it and say, actually, I'd rather not be spanked or smacked or used, if you have cane being used on me, how would you like them to deal with you when you know in yourself that you've done something wrong?
Okay. Me, I believe that there are so many ways of killing a rat without shedding blood.
Oh, wow, okay. So, I like that.
It mustn't be that it is the only way of correction is by using the rod and striking. That means you can just there's this heart-to-heart talk. It works very more. I don't know if they know, but when some words are being spoken out, correction are taken faster than using the rod, because we might still want to do the same thing we did. Then we say the highest thing we'll do is just to use the same rod. So at the point we just get used to it, like, okay, it's the same rod we'll still use. But when these corrections are made, maybe by sitting us or telling us what to do, or at times they might just want okay, maybe a second chance or to see if it will happen again, then a proper heart-to-heart talk should be given on using the rod and cane and stuff like that.
Okay, aside from corporal punishment, the child not being spanked or being caned, what are the other rights that, parents and caregivers should uphold when it comes to the child?
Can I just say something? First of all, we're talking about the rod literally. Going back to the rod. The rod need not be the physical cane. It can be the rod of authority. So maybe that's what the Bible is also referencing. The rod of authority, spare the rod, you spoil the child. So if you're not authoritative with your child and lay down proper guidelines, then the child goes off the rails. It's not necessarily referencing, because biblically the rod is also authority, the rod. So I disagree that it's a biblical precedent to beat a child physically. So, but that's a subject for maybe for another.
It's actually a very interesting one for me, because I strongly believe that the Bible wasn't referring to a physical cane being used or belt as some people, or even cable wire by some parents, and all kind of things that we see. It is completely wrong from my perspective, but it's always good when we open the debate. You are into supporting children in different ways. What will be the alternative that you put on the table that will work? Because that's part of the conversation today. What would you put on the table for parents who think that's the only option they have? I've spoken to my child, he doesn't listen, so smack, spank. What would you put on the table?
Can we just, before we round up the subject of corporal punishment, why it's a taboo, can I just say something? I spoke to a neurologist on our team. Corporal punishment actually doesn't work. Violence against children is actually, as Bio said, completely deleterious to the well-being and growth of the child. Can I just read out what he sent to me by email?
Okay,
this is a very passionate subject for him, and they're trying to set up something to stop it forever. Okay, this is what Dr. Williams said. When I shared with him the story of Omotunde Aziz, who fretted and looked unbalanced outside the school gate, this appeared in Bio's article. And Dr. Williams wrote back, this is what he said. Child abuse is traumatic at a neural level, that's the physical level of the brain, assaulting the brain and resulting in altered neurological functions, often expressed as abnormal behavioral and emotional responses that can occur at any time from infancy through adolescence. The chronically traumatized child will develop a host of physical signs and symptoms. Examples include sleep disturbance, regression. That's when you fail to do the things you once knew how to do. You regress, for instance, you become incontinent, for instance, where previously you were very well potty trained. Regression, withdrawal, fear, and heightened anxiety. Developmental differences also occur. From ages 2.5 to 6 years, children may exhibit play of traumatic events, expressing bodily complaints, and having intrusive images of the abuse. From ages 6 through 11 years, children experience decreased concentration and increased distractibility, which often interfere with schoolwork. In some cases, school-age children may feel responsible for the abuse and become overwhelmed by the intensity of their feelings. During preteen and adolescence, risk-taking behaviors are common, as is the wish for revenge on the perpetrator and clinical depression.
Let me also add that it leads to increased school dropout rate. When there's a school, a school or an educational system where the corporal punishment is applied to the extreme, children will learn with fear and they don't want to go to school.
Okay, just before we close that particular conversation, Tom, when you look around the society we live in, a lot of us who grew up, who were born here and grew up in this country, we will recollect, we will remember that there is either a Mr. Brown, a cane that is held by a teacher, or Mr. White, this white cane or something. We grew up with it. And what you hear amongst our peers today is that it didn't kill me. And we grew up with it, so it's difficult for them if it's so deeply rooted in the culture of bringing up children. I am strongly against it. I say it time without number. We've had this conversation on Twitter so many times, and I've brought it up again and again and again, saying it is wrong. But when people have it so deeply rooted in their upbringing, how do we begin to, beyond criminalizing parents and sending them to jail for spanking or beating their children or sending teachers to jail, how do we begin to reorientate people?
We need neurologists like Dr. Williams to come on the news and explain the deleterious effects of corporal punishment. And that, as Bayo said, what is limited force for one child can kill another child or lands a child in hospital. And fear is not, it messes up with, again, quoting from Bayo's piece, the internal value system. When you start to associate fear with authority, fear is not the same as authority. Respect leads to proper authority being implemented in a child's life. Respect leads to the child knowing how to implement authority even at his young age. Respect is what we should be encouraging. Respect for themselves, respect for one another, their peers, respect for adults, not fear, never fear. Because the culture of bullying, we cannot eradicate the culture of bullying if we have adults who bully. You know, so and bullying, we no one wants it. Even the parent who beats the child doesn't want his or her child bullied generally by others. But when we are endorsing physical violence through our own punishment techniques, then bullying won't be eradicated. Bullying becomes part of the culture.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the young people in the studio then. If we move away from corporal punishment and we now say, what are the things you would love to see happen to children in Nigeria from here on? Let's say we draw the line. This is 2013. In a couple of days, another May Day or Children's Day is around the corner. If we were to have a chance to rewrite history and say from now on this is what will be happening, what are the things you'd love to see?
I would like to see children being like free to express themselves. I would like to see children being free to like go to schools and not like hawk on the streets. I would like to see children having proper homes and not like maybe they're just like giving birth to and after that the parents just like send out of the house. They don't want to cater for their needs and everything. I like children having their own freedom to life and everything else, to their opinion, to their properties. Besides like keeping to themselves and not not being able to associate with other people or communicate freely with other people their like age group or their peer groups.
What do you hear from your friends then in terms of what you know they would like? Is it just what you've highlighted just now, or are there things that children your age are saying, oh, we would love these other things? What else do you think your age mates or even people younger than you will be yearning for?
For a better country.
A better country?
Yes, a better country where everyone is on his or her own with his or her family. A place where people just move around freely. We know, immorality is going on and everything. A place where everybody can express themselves, like, okay, say what's going on, and other people are able to listen